everyone, welcome back to the Shonky Lab. Sorry it's been so long, but them's the breaks, I'm afraid. I'm Elton, and today I'm joined by guest producers, Mr. Pete Hammond.
Hello.
And Sean McGowan.
Hi, everybody.
You guys alright?
Oh yeah, not so bad, man. You?
Yeah, good. I'm looking forward to talking about this.
Yeah, just getting past the long day.
Sorry?
Hold on, I'm getting choppy here all of a sudden.
Oh, bloody hell.
Oh no, Shonky Lab is living up to its name.
Well, we'll carry on while you try and sort that out.
Sorry.
That's all right, no worries. We didn't realise you was on a fishing boat, but that's cool. That's cool. That's good. So, we're here to talk about Making a Murderer. I understand it's quite the thing to talk about maybe 6 months, a year ago.
Yeah. And I'm going to apologize in advance. I mean, I'm very passionate about this documentary and this case, but I will say that, I am about 6 months, sounds about right. I'm about 6 months removed from the height of my passion. Mm-hmm. So if I have moments where I need to kind of go, before I recall something, I apologize in advance because, it's definitely a fascinating and again, passionate subject, but one that I haven't really discussed in quite some time.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I think I haven't, I've watched it in one big foul swoop. And so you can lose quite a lot of context in that, I think. When you're totally washed over with an article and you dive yourself head on, sometimes you can't see the wood for the trees with these sort of things. Yeah. So it's interesting. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys about this because I have spoken to maybe one or two people about it, and that's about it, really. I wasn't in the water cooler stage of people watching it and then going to work and then having a week to digest what you've just seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I binge watched it in about 10 days because it's 10 episodes long. And again, about 6 months ago, just binge watched the whole thing on Netflix in a week to 10 days.
Yeah.
Went at it fairly full bore because right from the off, it kind of grips you. And I have to admit, I was completely took in by it. But as I say, having had 6 months to kind of digest it and read around the subject and read around the case, it kind of throws a whole different spin on it, and it's quite interesting. Mm-hmm. But certainly in the water cooler moments, in the immediate aftermath of it, it's quite heated in certain discussion rooms and even on Facebook and stuff. It was quite interesting to watch. Yeah,
I feel I've missed out on all of that fun with the Facebook and what is going on there.
Fun, playing fast and loose with the word fun.
Yeah, because sometimes it can get overindulgent from some people, and some people take it to heart. I can take a joke. I can really wind people up if I really fancy it as well. And I'm kind of glad.
Hands up if you received a death threat over Facebook.
Oh, God, no.
Yep, I did.
What?
No.
About this?
About this, yeah. Some people are very passionate.
I just thought you meant in general. I was like, yeah, of course. I never received. You received a death threat over this?
Yeah, somebody. It's basically, I posted a opinion that was contrary to the herd, as it were. On it was an advert for the actual series on Facebook, and I posted basically a contrary opinion, and fuck me, it was quite scary. Somebody actually Facebook messaged me, and I thought, oh right, okay, I wasn't too bothered. They were in Kansas, and I'm fucking Cambridge, so
yeah, not exactly going to come knocking on your door, are they?
No, I wasn't too worried by it. But I thought, bloody hell.
So I'm going to go on a limb and say that since you posted something counter to the popular opinion at the time.
Yes.
And okay, and the popular opinion, I think we can all agree, the popular opinion is that Steven Avery's innocent, and that spoilers, by the way, for anybody who's listening to this, doesn't expect us to discuss in detail. I'm sure that the popular opinion being that, he's innocent. You posted, I'm assuming, something that was contrary to that. And somebody's response was basically, this man was unjustly put up for murder, so I shall kill you.
It's basically, yeah. I mean, it was a woman had posted, I feel so sorry for Steven Avery. He looks so lost and cute. I just want to give him a hug. And I posted underneath her comment, don't do that. He'll try and stick his dick in you and then set fire to you. And that was it.
God.
Floodgates open.
Oh,
you do have a way with words.
Oh, I do. But it was bizarre. Complete randoms. Nothing to do with her and nothing to do with me going for me. I was just like, whoa, fucking hell.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Right. Well, what we'll do, I know Sean has just given out the spoiler warning, but for people who are downloading this but don't really know what Making a Murder is, it is a Netflix show which was released in 2015, the back end of 2015. And it's caused some controversy. So if you haven't seen it, I would advise you, please go back, find it, hunt it down. I'm sure you can get it through illegal means as well, but
or other people's Netflix accounts.
Other people's Netflix accounts, yes. By the way, this episode is sponsored by Lee Metcalf's Netflix account, so thank you very much to Lee for that. Yeah, there is only 10 episodes. It will take you maybe one episode a night. I think I was doing 1 to 2 episodes a night when I was watching it, but that was over a course, maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks. I did it. I didn't do it every single night. I needed a little bit of time to digest what I was actually watching. But yeah, there will be spoilers for this, so please go back and watch this. We'll probably be swearing about this as well, so if you're offended by that sort of stuff, we're going to be diving into certain things that maybe people might not like to hear about gruesome tales, murders and stuff. It's called Making a Murderer. So if you haven't seen it, please go back and check it out. If you don't like that sort of subject, then please see you next time. We'll see you on the next episode. If you do skip over and see us on the next episode, please be sure to visit us at we record this live, which is on Mixlr, which is mixlr.com/road2media. So you can always jump in the chat room. We've got a couple of people in the chat room at the moment, which is awesome. But yes, please join us in the chat room for the next episode. I don't know what it will be or anything like that, but normally if you come along onto the Facebook group, you can find out what we're talking about on there. Right, so with all that done, shall we dive into this? I want to find out, Sean, how did you find out about this? Was it from the very beginning that you found out and just watched it on the Netflix straight away? It came out here in the States around Christmas time last year, and it's what everybody was talking about over Christmas break. And Melissa and I didn't get into it at first. We kind of, we'd both heard about it, but we're like, really no interest. It just, it was one of those things that was there. We knew about it, but we really didn't take any time to watch it. And timing is really awful for us in this part, because I was at the very end of my Christmas break. And one night, it was literally a day or two before I was going back to work. It was late at night. We're like, you know what? We're bored. We didn't know what to watch. We popped it in. I said, let me just start this up. I've heard some things about this. People are saying that, this is going to get you really riled up, and that it's, people are really passionate about this. So I said, all right, let's try it. Popped it in, and we probably watched 5 episodes right that night. Wow.
And then the next night we started watching more, and she had to go to work the next morning. I had to go to work the next morning. We were like, screw it. So we binge watched it over 2 days at the beginning of January, and it was a phenomenon, as you said earlier at the top of the hour. It was something that everybody was talking about, and we got in kind of near the beginning. I mean, some people had seen it already, but there were enough people that we knew that hadn't seen it that we were part of that crowd of people going, "You got to see this thing! Oh my God, wait till you see this because you got to see it, and then we have to talk about it." Because it was very very persuasive, and it was very it was fascinating, and it was also. It was something that got you riled up, and I just remember cursing a lot over that period of time and swearing that I would never go to Wisconsin. Or if I did, I would definitely speed through Manitowoc County and get the hell out of there. But yeah, that was pretty much our experience with it. And by the way, I want to say Melissa wanted to be here. Unfortunately, she's a little under the weather. But she really, like, even more than me, was super, like, into this show and into looking, like, I was into the show and I was into everything around it, but, like, she remained, like, on top of this, like, for months after, reading every article that came out, getting into a lot of fights. She may have even been the one that gave the death threat to Pete. I don't know.
Possibly, yeah.
It's very possible. But yeah. She would have definitely been first chair if she was sitting here with me. So I hope I can do her words justice in my commentary.
Yeah.
But yeah, it consumed us when it came out. It really did, and for a good time after.
Wow, that's amazing. What about you, Pete? When did you hear about this and start binge watching it?
I think we came into it. We weren't late, but we weren't in on the ground floor. We'd heard about it, and several people had said, "Oh, you've got to watch this. It's really, really good. It's really, really good." And I think, okay, fine, fair enough. We'll give it a go. And I went into it completely cold, completely blind, even to the point where I thought, is this going to be like Walking Dead? Is it going to be like Game of Thrones? Is it going to be like a series? Is it going to be, is there going to be a season 2? All this sort of, and we just went into it, and it kicked off, and we're watching it thinking, okay, fine, fair enough. And then from pretty much all the way through, every single episode, we were, as I say, we were watching 1 or 2 a night. We did it in a week to 10 days. Every single night, we were just like, oh my God, this is incredible. Jaw-dropping TV, as I say, it really does grip you. And you just come out of it thinking, as you say, I'm never going to go to Wisconsin, which is a shame because I'm a Packers fan. But never going to go there. It's awful. It's awful. What they did, what happened to this guy is incredible, and all this sort of stuff. And then after it, I felt, I'll read around the subject, and at that point, that's when I started feeling really stupid, for reasons that will become clear later on.
Okay, fair enough. Well, for myself, I'd heard about it, but I don't have Netflix. And
Lee does.
Yeah.
Allegedly. He allegedly has it.
Oh, no.
No, he's definitely got it.
He definitely has
it.
I'd heard about it, but it wasn't... I'd heard all these other people talking about it as well, and all of a sudden there's a lot of podcasts about it, and I thought it was something like Serial, the podcast Serial, where everyone started talking about it and diving into it, and it hits a certain size, and then I naturally just back away from it. And I've done it to quite a few shows, and this came out, and I just naturally backed away from it because everyone was talking about it, going, "Oh my God, it's so amazing, so brilliant." And so I stayed clear of it. Didn't really dive into what it was all about. Didn't know it was a true story. Didn't know if it was a fiction or anything like that. And then one day, I think it was my daughter's birthday. Was it my daughter's birthday or my son's birthday? One of the kids' birthdays, and my sister-in-law came up, and she sat down and she was like, "Have you heard of Steven Avery in this Making a Murderer?" And okay, no, I've heard of it, but I haven't watched any of it. And then she proceeded to let me know what it was about, and not without divulging all the twists and turns and everything like that. But it was an interesting conversation, enough for me to seek out the first episode just to find out what's going on. And it was a case of, okay, I've got an hour, I'm going to try and find it. And I found the first episode on Netflix, not on Netflix, on YouTube, and it's free on YouTube at the moment. Netflix are giving it away free on YouTube. So that's all kosher. And so I sat down there and watched that. And by the end of the episode, I was thinking, oh, this is good. I kind of like this. Thinking that this guy who's been put into prison for 18 years, the next 9 episodes are going to be about him winning his case and getting his name cleared and going on his journey on how his family are building up around this. And sat down. Well, the last 2 minutes were, yeah, we found a dead body. And I'm like, oh, what? And that was it. I was hooked. And so then Mr. Medcalf did lend me the account to watch a movie on Netflix a little while ago for the Black Dog. It was, for research, of course. And I couldn't help myself. I was like, sod it. Let's go for it. and started watching it. And yeah, I think by the next time I'd recorded Black Dog, I'd already watched 5 episodes. And it's mentioned in one of the episodes. Oh, yeah. I know you've been watching that. Oh, yes, I know you have. Because I can see what you're watching. Oh, shit. But he's a good chap. He doesn't mind that. He's fine. I'm not taking the piss or anything. So yeah, next time round, within the next week, I'd totally finished it. And my opinions are all over the place. They really are. And so I really do want to get in depth with you guys. So how would you like to play this? Do you want to? I can't take it episode by episode because I can't remember what happens in each and every episode. But
I definitely can't do it like that. I mean, if you guys want to however you want to play it, I mean, I can definitely, as soon as we start discussing, I'm sure that the pieces will fall into place. But yeah, episode by episode would definitely not work with me because
it's going to be an acid flashback.
Exactly.
In there, and then this happened.
Oh, yes. God, yes. Yeah, definitely. Okay, right. Yeah. The subject matter of this, it's a chap called Steven Avery. He was arrested and convicted of sexual assault in 1985.
A particularly brutal rape and attack on a young lady, wasn't it?
Yes, on a beach.
Yeah.
On a beach, yes. 18 years later, he was proven innocent through DNA that it was a different man, Penny Bernstein.
Penny Bernstein was the girl that was attacked, but the guy that attacked her, it eventually proved to have been, was a guy called Gregory Allen.
Ah, yes, that's right, yes. So he was put into jail. This Steven Avery was brought out of jail, and I think it was in 2003 he was released from jail, and then he filed a $36 million lawsuit against the town of Manitowoc.
The county.
Against the county. And then it all starts to kick off. So, with the DNA, how do we feel his life is presumed with all this sexual assault? Because is your name ever clear?
With Steven Avery, this is where you've got to start treading carefully. Steven Avery was originally accused and convicted of this attack on Penny Bernstein because he, rather ill-advisedly, got into a road rage incident with one of the Manitowoc County Sheriff's wives.
Oh, that's right, yes.
And so from that point on, his name was Mud with Manitowoc County, because obviously you shouldn't I mean, we'll go into the details of what we'll deem as road rage in a bit, but it's not a very intelligent or nice thing to do anyway. But to do it to one of the local, police sheriff's wives, that's really stupid. But essentially, this lady was accusing Avery of exposing himself to her, and obviously he denied it. He got upset by this and took the opportunity when he saw it to run her off the road and point a rifle at her, and tell her to get into his car. She obviously said, no, that's not happening, and I've got my kids in the car anyway, at which point he backed off. But from that moment on, I think anything that they could pin to him, they were going to try to. So when this attack comes up, they actually frame him for it. There's one part I think it's part one of the documentary, where they have the photo fit artist sketch.
Yes. And
they actually sketched one of Avery's previous mugshots and submitted that as the artist's rendition.
Yeah, the sketch is scarily close to that photo, isn't it?
It's when I say from a previous mugshot, Avery has done time. I mean, no two ways about it. Avery is not squeaky clean.
No.
He was framed and fitted up for this rape. No two ways about it. But he had done time for animal abuse and spousal abuse, if memory serves.
Burglary.
Sorry, say again?
And burglary.
And burglary, that's it.
He robbed a bar.
Yeah. So the guy's got previous. He is known to Manitowoc County Police. And then in a road raid incident where he points a rifle at someone, they've got his number. So at that point on, his card's marked. So they fit him up for this assault.
There aren't many worse people to point a rifle at, really, are there?
It's fucking stupid. There's no two ways about it. I mean, they do say that he's got an IQ similar to that of an Alsatian, but seriously, you don't point a loaded or not. He says it was unloaded, but somebody points a gun at you, you don't know. So you don't point a gun at somebody unless you're going to pull the trigger. Mm-hmm. And he points a gun at somebody who he's just run off the road.
Jeez.
So, bit of an arsehole, and did it to the completely wrong person.
Yeah. Okay. With this Netflix program, they did describe, or they did brush over his previous.
Brushed over. That's an understatement. I think they describe the animal abuse incident as a prank gone wrong. Where him and a friend were throwing a cat to each other over a bonfire.
Yeah.
That's not exactly what happened. What actually happened was more along the lines of he doused a cat in petrol and flung it into the bonfire.
That's what I've heard as well. Now, has that been proven?
Yes. That's what he did. Apart from anything else, what kind of prank is throwing a cat over a bonfire?
Well, yeah, that's not.
Yeah, alongside pissing the bed, you're up to Jeffrey Dahmer standards.
It's definitely not a good look.
No. So he's got the previous for animal abuse, robbed a bar as well, and there's also, was it his ex-wife filed for battery? I can't remember now.
Yeah, I remember he was accused of battery. I'm not sure if it was the ex-wife or if it was a previous girlfriend, but I do remember that.
Yeah, because there's three Avery brothers. There's Stephen, Chuck, and Earl, and all three brothers. And this isn't really touched upon in the documentary either. all three brothers have got sexual assault convictions against them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. It is a lovely family.
I mean, this is where I feel a bit daft for feeling the way I did about the documentary, because, as I say, I went into it cold, and they present the Avery family at face value. You know, they've got their car lot, and there's a lot of them. There's, I'm not gonna, I wouldn't say questionable breeding, but but there's a certain look they fit, and sort of I live in Cambridgeshire. There's a lot of open spaces. You get the occasional car yard, and I'm going to use the word pikey. I mean, most people know what I mean if I say that. Kind of gypsy sort of family, I would say. Mm-hmm. So, and having had run-ins on numerous occasions with such people, my opinion of Avery was kind of set, which was then, by the documentary, completely turned on its head.
Mm-hmm.
But I've now gone back to my original opinion of him. But having read around the subject, but
it's interesting though that you do bring that up, because I also do remember, and I remember reading about this, and it was also one of the points they kind of spotlight, or at least tried to present this side of it in the documentary, is that they were kind of viewed very much in that community that way. They were not highly regarded in that community. They were they were looked on as, what the term we would use here is, they were looked on as trashy. Like you use the term white trash is the way that they would be called. And that community didn't really like them. And I know that, and this is not in any way a defense of his actions with the gun or, running the woman off the road. And I think wasn't she also, I mean, she was his cousin, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. She was his cousin, which, she basically was spreading rumors about him and the family and whatnot. And there was a lot of animosity with that family and that town and each other. And even not just the Averys themselves, but, there's kind of a lot of, should I say it? Cause I'm going to try to be diplomatic, but country folk, there's a lot of mixing, even outside of that family that nobody liked. So it's kind of like same not liking same a little bit.
Very diplomatic. Very diplomatic.
And yeah, thank you. I'm gonna take the points for that. But
it's dueling banjo country, isn't it?
What's that?
It's dueling banjo country, isn't it?
Basically, yeah. It's definitely that kind of thing. And I think that it's very easy to look at just Avery and his family and judge them, but you also have to look at the larger community and look at the relationships. Where did they fit and where did they not fit, and how much of the actions of everyone in this situation, going back to history, even before any of these cases came about, just through good old Hatfield McCoy type mentality. I don't know if that's coming across. I don't know if Hatfield McCoys is something that is relevant outside of this country. I don't know. Are you familiar with the term?
No, but I'm Googling it right now.
I can get the gist.
Two famous country families in American folklore. I believe they actually literally existed, but their stories have become part of folklore. And basically, it's country folk who are pretty much related, but despise each other, kind of like Romeo and Juliet, except with country folk, and families that hate each other for generations without even knowing why. This was kind of like that in some senses. This family was despised. Their property was looked upon as being an eyesore. The rest of the community would love nothing more than to push these people out. But they own that land. It was their right to be there, but there was nothing, there was nothing they could do to exorcise these folks. But a lot of those people were no better. It's just a different shade of country.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's the same tale from the different side of the fence, really, isn't it? Some people don't like other families and they want them out, but really, you could move on as well because you're doing exactly the same sort of thing in the town.
Yeah.
And the lot that they have as well, it's a huge plot of land, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's 40 acres.
Bloody hell. So when I was watching the program, I was on Google Maps trying to find it. I did find it, and yeah, it's a big old plot.
Actually, you say that. For my line of work, I'm in fields quite a lot, and 40 acres is about 24, 25 hectares. That's not huge for a car yard, but we'll get onto that later.
It's bigger than my garden, so anything bigger than my garden is big.
If I can't throw a cricket ball from one end to the other, it's too big.
Yes, exactly. Actually, no, that'd be perfect, because then it wouldn't go over the bloody fence.
Yeah.
Right, so, where are we up to at the moment? Okay, are we all agreed that he got fitted up for this sexual assault?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, that's not in dispute.
Yeah. I mean, they did actually, they cleared him with DNA and Gregory Allen actually saying, yeah, it was me. So there's no two ways about it.
Yeah.
And I think actually Penny Bernstein has since apologised to Avery for her parts in the whole incident.
I believe she has.
Yeah, because she was pointed in the direction of Avery, shall we say, when it came to pointing the finger.
Yeah, in the show, there's a lot of evidence that points to the other guy.
Yeah.
And it is kind of misdirection. It's Avery's the first name to come up and be thrown into the mix. And so people go down that hole and make it stick to him, and then that's it. He's in the slammer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, it's flipping scary how easily that can happen.
Yeah.
Really is.
So for that, I mean, yes, Avery was definitely fitted up. No two ways about it.
Yeah. So then, in 2003, after the DNA coming out and Avery being exonerated, he's released from prison in 2003, and then proceeds. I don't think it was straight away. It was a little while after. He proceeds to file a $36 million lawsuit against Manitowoc County.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at the size of the county and what's going on, would that make them bankrupt?
It would certainly push them towards it.
I would imagine that would leave them a little short.
Yeah. So we have a case of a guy who's had his name cleared. The people in the town don't really like the family. And now he's going to be a multi-millionaire because someone else stitched him up.
Yeah, then, he did get greedy. I mean, this is something that I thought. There was another case recently featured on another podcast where a guy served 16 years and was wrongfully convicted. They released him, and he actually he got $650,000 for his 16 years inside,
right,
as compensation. So for Avery to start going, up 36 million, come on.
Well, isn't that down to his side of things, like the lawyering side of things, getting greedy as well?
I wouldn't. No, I don't think that is there. I think that a lot of that is Avery. Because when he does eventually, because obviously Manitowoc County fight it, when everything else starts surfacing, he, instead of pushing for 36 million, settles for 400,000 to pay for lawyers. So from that, I would glean that the 36 million is Avery getting a bit greedy.
Well, I mean, did he push for 36 million, or was that the judgment that was decided upon by? Was that because I don't remember exactly how the judgment came about for that particular amount.
I thought they worked it out, didn't they? They worked out a set amount per year, times that by 18, and then damages and other bits on top of that, and they rounded it up to around about 36 million.
Oh, right. So, as I say, I can't remember how they got to it, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what I believe happened is I think that, his lawyer, I mean, this is typical lawyer tactic. They probably didn't expect to walk away with literally 36 million, but let's sue them for a ridiculously high amount and we'll end up settling for something less, but something significant.
Yeah.
And, I'll be honest with you. You put me away in jail, take away my freedom, and I'm innocent. I'm going to sue you for as much as there is on God's green earth. So I don't think there is any amount of greed that would hold me back from that. And the settlement ended up because they had him by the balls at that point.
Yeah.
Because he was by that time the second case was fully underway, and he was looking at take this or nothing.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I suppose from a lawyer point of view, if you ask for 36 million, you end up with 4 million. The county think that they've won because they've still got 28 million in the bank still, and that problem has gone away. And then the person who files that lawsuit is still got 4 million in the bank. So everyone's a winner, really.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
God, it's scary. It really is scary. Okay, so why did he end up dropping this?
Dropping what?
The lawsuit.
Oh, going for his 36 million? Well, basically, a young girl turned up dead on his property.
Yeah.
And he was suspect numero uno. And things got a little bit hairy for him very, very quickly.
This was Teresa
Halbach.
Yeah.
Teresa Halbach, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, should go?
No, go on, carry on, mate.
No, I was just going to say she was a 25-year-old graduate and was into photography, worked as a freelance photographer for various different publications in the area, one of which being the Auto Trader magazine,
right.
Which is how she came to be on the property in the first place.
Now, she was called to the property to take photos of a couple of cars.
Yes.
She, as I say, she worked freelance for Auto Trader, which basically it's like the Auto Trader over here. Everybody knows what Auto Trader is. But she was essentially taking photographs of cars for sale on his lot. Mm-hmm. And obviously, he's got a 40-acre lot, lots of scrap cars he's done up, junkers, selling bits and bobs, selling cars for parts and whatever. In the past, I think it's 6 months. In the past 6 months, she'd been called out to Avery's lot 6 times to take photographs of various different vehicles. Mm-hmm. Over this course of 6 visits, she formed an opinion of Avery that wasn't savoury, shall we say. She didn't like the guy to the point where she said, "I will not go back to that property." But then when you kind of realise that Manitowoc's not very big, it's not exactly New York City, job opportunities of that nature don't come around very often. So, and Avery is a big client of Auto Trader. So basically they talked her down into, okay, I will go back to the Avery lot. I just won't deal with Steven Avery. I'll deal with anybody else. I just won't deal with him. So in this, I think it was October 31st of 2005, she went to take photographs of a minivan on his property.
Yep.
That was going to be put up for sale on the Auto Trader.
And then she disappeared.
Yes. She wasn't registered as missing until November the 3rd by the family.
Right, okay.
Was that right? November the 3rd?
I'm trying to look through it at the moment. I think it was around about then.
And he was arrested on November 11th. So,
hang on, we're getting one word in 4.
Hello? You got me?
Yeah,
We've got you now.
Okay. I said he was arrested on November 11th. I know. I don't know exactly what day she was reported missing, but bottom line, she was, she went missing. That was the last, her last known place where she had checked in.
Yeah, she'd had several appointments during that day, and Avery's was the last one.
And so she's gone to this place. She hasn't turned back up at work the next day. And naturally, fingers are pointed straight towards Avery.
Reason being is that Avery is the last person, his property is the last place that they knew for sure that she'd been.
Which I don't think that's an unreasonable thing to think about.
No, in any missing person or murder inquiry, your first suspect is usually the last person to have seen them alive.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, it's Avery.
Yeah. So the police find remains, don't they? They find teeth. Well, it takes quite a while, though, doesn't it? Because they are. I'm getting lost in it now because they have. At the end of the first episode, they say something about we found a body, but they don't find a body though, do they? They find skull remains. They find teeth.
They find a femur and they find several ribs.
Yeah,
and they find them in 2 separate locations.
But this is all after they've been on the property a couple of days and they found her Toyota RAV4 on his site.
Yeah,
hidden away.
Because they're looking that she's gone missing. Last place she was seen is Avery's lot. So naturally, that's the first place you look.
Yeah.
And from that point, they start finding things on his property that are very, very suspicious, such as her car, as he says, a Toyota RAV4. They find her phone, her PDA, her camera, and bits of her.
Yeah.
On the lot. So,
okay, Sean, what are you thinking about this program at this point? And what way are you swaying?
Well, I'm trying to, I actually was just in the background trying to look up the actual timeline because I'm trying to remember. Because I thought they found the car after they found the remains. But I guess I'm wrong on that.
I think they found the car first. Because at that point, she was a missing person.
Okay.
They had some friends go to the lot, didn't they?
They had an unofficial search party. They basically went to the lot, and it was Earl Avery let them on, said, yeah, fine, you can have a look around the lot to put your mind at rest. And within half an hour, they found her RAV4.
Yeah.
Yeah, she said in the court that she went down the left-hand side, started looking at the cars on the left-hand side. There was one tucked away behind lots of wood and branches.
Yeah.
And it was as if Teresa was guiding her there.
This is bone of contention for many people, because obviously, as we've said, it's a 40-acre lot, and it only took them half an hour to find the car.
It was right up close to the front of the property.
Well, that's what I was always going to say, because this is where, because at this point in the documentary, I'm kind of like, oh my God, this is amazing. And this is where the cracks start appearing for me, because a lot of people are saying, and in court they were saying, oh, to find the car on a 40-acre lot within half an hour. It's absurd. They knew where the car was. No, it's right by the front gate. And it's a junkyard, and this is a fairly new RAV4.
I've heard, right, if you go to let's say, a car meetup, and you're looking for your friend in a red car, and you know what type of it is, all of a sudden, all other cars do not register with you. You are looking for a certain type, so I don't think it'd take that long. You're looking for a certain type of car, you know what colour it is, you know her car, and so you're just on the lookout for that shape and colour. So I don't find it unbelievable that it would turn up this quickly.
No, that's where I am with this. Because, as I say, it's not been crushed. They're looking for they're not looking for a pristine RAV4, but they're looking for a RAV4 that's been on the property a couple of days. Mm-hmm. It's not been crushed. It's not been junked. It's been tampered with, but it's not been junked. So it's going to stick out.
It's too convenient. And what I remember, there's something else that we're not discussing that always stood out to me, and still to this day is what I remember most from this documentary, is the one officer, I think it was Coburn was his name.
Oh, Colburn.
The one who calls in about the license plate. You remember he calls the dispatcher?
Yeah, that's been explained away.
Okay, how's that been explained? Well, let's explain what it is first before we
essentially, the way it's portrayed in the documentary is he calls into dispatch, and he calls in the number plate of the RAV4, and he calls in the make and model.
Mm-hmm.
And in the documentary, this is made out as if this is before they found the car, but he knows what the car is, and he knows what the number plate is. He's looking at the car, and it's before they found it. It's a fit-up, it's a fit-up. No, they've been told to look for this car. He's just confirming the plates. He's not got them in front of him. He's potentially overheard another officer say, we're looking for this, and all he's doing is confirming the identity of the car.
Right.
Where was
and
that?
And because in court, Dean Strang actually says to him, do you not find this absurd? Do you not find, what's the wording? He says, do you not see how this could seem strange to someone? And Colburn, deadpans, goes, no. Because to him, it wasn't. He was literally just checking the ID of the car.
See, the documentary doesn't make that very clear, though.
It really doesn't, because later on, Ken, if you read the court transcripts, Ken Kratz, the prosecution attorney, lawyer, whatever he's called, he actually confirms it. He actually words the question, because the way Dean Strang, he doesn't say, why were you calling this in? He says, do you not think it was suspicious that you were? So it's the wording of the question fits quite nicely with the documentary's angle.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, that has been explained as he was literally just checking the identity of the car.
Yeah. In the chat room, we have Doreen, and she does say, or ask a question, the RAV4, was it on an exposed ridge?
It was...
I didn't think it was. I thought it was on the edge.
It wasn't elevated. It was kind of parked to the side.
But covered as well.
It had some branches and stuff chucked on it, and it was near the car crusher. So whether they were going to be crushing it in the next couple of days...
See, this is the thing that I just don't get, because we understand Steven Avery's not a smart man, but if he's smart enough to burn the body, why wouldn't he be smart enough to crush the car?
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't get that.
This is where I have trouble with this, because at one moment you're on his side, next minute I'm on the other side of the fence, because you've got a couple of days and you know you got a body on the site. Why the hell are you still storing that car? Surely that would be the second thing you do after disposing of the body. And he's got the car crusher on site. Surely that must have gone through his mind. If he did cause this and do this, then surely him or his family or whatever, trying to cover up for him, that would have been the second thing you do after getting rid of the body.
He did actually try to make it look like a junker. He tore the plates off. I think he let the tyres down. He ripped the battery out as well. But the only thing that I can potentially think about with that is, was there a queue of cars to go to the crusher? Was there 4 cars that they had to do that day ahead of that one? I mean, I don't know how these things work.
And they're sat there going, no, hang on, we've got to do this many. We've got to do this massive Volvo. And then we'll get to the murder car.
Then we get to the one with all the guts and blood in it.
Queuing was his downfall.
Yes. He's British,
I that's where I'm stumped. I really am stumped. But then again, if he really isn't the sharpest tool in the box, then maybe that is maybe ripping the number plates off of it and the battery out of it and putting a couple of bits of wood over it. Oh, that's enough. I wouldn't be able to find that.
He's actually more intelligent than he lets on. Well. Yeah. There's the whole. I believe they call it setting up an alibi.
Okay.
For actually getting, because there's the whole question of why Hullback's on the property in the first place. Because she has said that she will not deal with Steven Avery on Avery's property. So how did Steven Avery get her onto the property in the first place? And what he did is he booked an appointment with her under a false name. So he phoned up the Auto Trader office and said, "Hello, I'm calling from the Avery lot. We've had several cars photograph for your publication in the past. I've got a minivan for sale. I'd like somebody to come out and take photographs of this minivan. Preferably, I'd like the girl that came the last couple of times. That'd be great." And then when the secretary says, "Certainly, what's the name?" The name he gave was B Yonder. He didn't give the name Steven Avery, which is his name. He gave the name B Yonder, which is short for Barbara Yonder, which is his sister, who also lives on the property.
Right.
So Hullback went to the property thinking she was meeting up with Barbara Yonder.
Is this also the same sort of time that there was phone messages deleted off the phone?
Well, he actually then phoned Hullback twice using star 67, which is the caller ID. Mm-hmm. So she's got two phone calls on her phone at, I think, just either side of 2:30. And he then phones a third time at about 5:30 and doesn't star 67 it. So he's kind of, they call it setting up an alibi. So essentially, he has lured her onto the property under false pretenses.
Okay, right.
And that for me is a big sticking point.
Okay, right. Well, we've got 5 minutes left of this hour at the moment.
Do you think we'll do another one?
Are you okay to come? Are you guys okay to come back for a second half, and we'll try and get as much as we can in the next hour?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, cool. Right, okay, people on Mixler, we're going to disappear for around about 15 minutes. We're going to grab a cup of tea and maybe a slice of cake and sit down and digest what we've just been talking about and try and work out what we're going to talk about next time. People on the podcast, once again, flip your cassette over and then press play, and then we'll be back very, very soon. So thank you very much for listening, and we'll be back in around about 15 minutes. Welcome back, everyone, to the Shonky Lab. I'm Elton. I'm joined today by Pete and Sean.
Hello.
Hello.
And
apologies to those who were listening in the first half. Apparently my mic was rubbing on my T-shirt.
It wasn't that much, but just be aware of it. That's all I'm saying. Just be aware of it.
I'm now hanging upside down in my doorway because it's easier that way.
Well, that is the only way to record.
Yeah,
I understand. So we're back for the second half of this thing. I reckon we can get the rest of this and our opinions done within this hour.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, I'm excited to see if this happens. Let's take side bets.
I reckon we can. That being said, I'm going to continue right now. Okay, so Making a Murderer. Where do we get up to? We got up to the RAV4. We got up to the discovery of body parts in a fire pit. I don't think we said fire pit, but there was a fire pit on the Avery's site that there was body parts found in.
Fire pit and a fire barrel.
Yeah,
two locations.
Right,
and a third location if you count the quarry, but those bones were never verified as human.
Oh, okay, yeah, because that was down the road, wasn't it? That's a short drive down the road to the quarry. Okay, at this point, I'm thinking, or the way that the document, the program is saying to me, this is coming across as a second setup because the car is on the lot. It hasn't been crushed because any good murderer and serial killer would crush their car. It also feels a bit quick to point at him as if there is only one suspect. We aren't even diving into any other ideas of anyone else doing this. And so let's go for Steven Avery. And he's arrested and thrown into jail. What are you guys thinking at this time? Are you on the side of the Avery family, or are you side of the prosecution at this point?
Whilst watching the actual documentary at the time, firmly on the side of Avery. Mm-hmm. Now that I've had 6 months to digest it, yeah, not so much.
Okay. Why are you on the side of Avery at this point?
Honestly?
Yeah.
Clever editing and musical cues.
Okay. But something must have given you that impression, though.
It was, as you say, it was very quick, the way that it was done, and it was starting to look like a fit-up, a second fit-up. Plus, you've also got motive on the part of Manitowoc County in that this bastard's trying to sue us for 36 million quid, lads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's make this disappear.
Let's make him go away. So the way that that's brought across in the documentary, it's starting to look like a fit-up again.
Okay. What about you, Sean? How are you feeling at this point?
At this point, as I was watching it, I definitely was totally sold on it being a setup and them trying to jam him up for this. I will say now, and I don't want to tip my hand to our final summations, but I'm going to say that regardless of whether or not Steven Avery is guilty, I think that the police had a vested interest in seeing him as the guilty party. And I honestly believe that everything they did in this case was done with that in mind. I think the fact that they didn't look into alternate suspects, I think that certainly by this time, I'm hoping I am remembering the documentary in proper sequence. I believe by this time we were introduced to the ex-boyfriend who I think that, and I don't think the documentary really explored him at all, as much as they certainly were definitely going with a pro Steven Avery bias. I don't think they spent enough time exploring the possible alternate suspects, outside of showing in the courtroom later on when the lawyers brought up whether or not the cops did look into other suspects, interview anyone else. And I thought that, honestly, the ex-boyfriend seemed a little bit suspicious to me. The fact that he had access to her codes to get into her cell phone. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't even know my wife's codes to get into her cell phone. So he immediately gave me kind of a stalkery vibe. Now, again, this is partially unfair because I'm basing this only on having seen a person on my television set. But nonetheless, I do feel that I think that Manitowoc County never considered anyone else other than Steven Avery, whether it's because of a vendetta against him or whether it's because of the detective fallacy of, the evidence is pointing in this direction, so therefore let's only look in this direction, or if it's something sinister. But I know that as I was watching it at this point, that January weekend, I was sitting there going, they framed this guy. They totally framed this guy.
Yes, I was edging on that way as well. It just seemed too quick, too convenient, and there was no one else in the frame. Like you say, like the ex-boyfriend, he's shown in a couple of scenes. Not saying that he looks creepy or anything like that, but you do have to wonder, surely a lady goes missing, her boyfriend or husband, and the last person that she's seen, surely they're all in the frame straight away. They must be. Even put them in the frame to remove them from the frame. But that
exactly.
It didn't even happen.
That's proper police work.
Yeah.
That's proper police work. At least bring them up so that you can rule them out.
Yeah. And
that didn't happen.
It didn't seem to happen. Did it happen? That's the thing. It may have happened behind the scenes, but the documentary didn't want to show that.
It was actually brought up in court. They did actually bring that up in court, asking why they didn't look into those other suspects, and the detectives said they didn't see them. They didn't see any reason to. So they didn't. They absolutely did not. I mean, unless the detectives were perjuring themselves, they did not ever at any time consider anyone else other than Steven Avery a suspect.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got him in jail at the moment, and we feel I think we're all on Avery's side at this point. Then comes the massive bombshell of, is it his cousin? It's not his cousin, it's his nephew, isn't it?
Nephew, yeah.
Brendan Dasseys. All of a sudden, he's in the frame. And what happens is, it comes up in the documentary that you're on Avery's side, and then all of a sudden, Brendan Dasseys is, how's the correct terminology for this? He's he's going against his uncle. He's setting his uncle up. He's turning around and saying that he was there and he saw his uncle do these certain things, cut this woman, burn this woman, and he did all these things. And I sat there going, what? Where the hell did this come from? Because we haven't heard about Brendan Dasseys up until this point. Mm-hmm. There's nothing to say that he's there, he's around or anything. And it was so confusing to have this almost real sharp left turn and then a U-turn in this case where you think, okay, he's been fitted up, he's going to get off with this, and he'll get his $36 million for this. But to have a family member turn around and say, no, he actually did do these things. And, okay, what were your first impressions of Brendan Dasseys and the way that he was introduced into this? Because I have my thoughts about him.
Well, I personally felt that, I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm remembering this incorrectly, his introduction into this case came via interrogation from the police. I don't think, right, he didn't, wake up one day and decide that he's going to all of a sudden, rat out or throw this at his cousin's feet. The kid was interrogated by police, and that interrogation, I felt, given Dasseys' level of intelligence, level of intellectual functioning, was a very unfair. They basically manipulated the kid. Again, regardless of what you believe or don't believe about what Steven Avery did or what Brendan Dassey may or may not have done, that interrogation was a travesty as far as I was concerned.
Yeah.
So I really think that my take on it at the time and certainly today was that the police were looking for an opportunity to really nail Avery down. They used this kid to get the story straight, to create the story for how they were going to nail him. I think they roped this kid in, and regardless of whatever injustice anyone feels happened to Steven Avery, I fully believe that what happened to Brendan Dassey was completely unjust.
Yeah. What about you, Pete? How did you think about him?
The thing with Dassey, you're absolutely right. To have a minor, and on the face of it, a minor who's not firing on all cylinders, shall we say? Low reading age. Didn't they say he's got a reading age of 12 or something?
Yeah.
But either way, a minor in a room with two seasoned police interrogators on his own is not a good situation. Yeah. The trouble was his lawyer, Brendan Dassey's lawyer, was a fucking liability.
Well, the kid got screwed in the interrogation, then he got screwed by his representation.
Oh, yes.
And the other thing as well is they checked with his mother, Barbara Yonder, whether they could interview him on his own. Do you want to be here or do you want us to wait? She said, go ahead. Mm-hmm. So part of this is down to his mother. Now, the other thing I did hear, and I don't know if this is true or not, so I stand corrected if I'm wrong. That 4-hour tape of him being interviewed does look very, very suspicious. It looks like they're coaching him. It looks like they're feeding him information.
Oh, absolutely.
However, and I don't know how true this is, the reason they're doing that is because that's not the first time he's been interviewed. The reason they're interviewing him in that manner is because he has already told them the story, just not on tape. So they want to get the story on tape so it can be used as evidence and as a confession. So it looks like they're coaching him because he's already told them all this, so they know it, and then they're literally trying to get him to parrot it.
But there are ways of doing this.
I mean, what we should say as well, from start to finish, Manitowoc County, the police department, is on par with Keystone Cops.
The way that interview
ridiculous.
Is portrayed, it's portrayed as that is the first interview with this kid. He's dragged out of school. Not dragged out of school, sorry. He's taken out of school and taken down to this room, and he's interviewed, good cop, bad cop, and fed all these lines. That's the way it comes across to me, anyway.
He's not, though, because he's actually interviewed previous to that situation by his lawyer on his own.
Right, but the way the documentary comes across, that's the way it came across to me.
Oh yeah, that's that's the way they want you to think.
But
with this documentary,
the way that was done, that interview was a crime in itself, the way that's done.
Oh yeah, very much so. Presented as it's presented in the documentary, it's astonishing that it ever happened.
Well, it shouldn't happen. Even if it is the second time around, that should not happen.
No, he should have at least had his mother with him, but of course she said no.
I mean, I have to tell you, the thing that I remember most from this documentary, and part of it, I will admit, I work. I'm a special education teacher, so when I watched Steven Dasseys, I saw my kids. I saw one of my students sitting there, and I could totally see. Some of my students over the years, you could literally convince them of anything. You could steer them down any path you want to, and that's exactly what these cops did. They had somebody who would have agreed to pretty much anything they said, I believe. And the most heartbreaking thing, the thing that just like guts me, that really gets my anger going, is at the very end when the kid is like, all right, can I go back to class now? I have a test. And it's like, kid, you're never going back to class.
Yeah.
You're going to one place. And it's just like, I was so angry. Still am. To this day.
When he says he needs to go back to class, he mentions he wants to be there by 1:29 or 2:29, but it's such a precise time that it shines a beacon on this kid is being fitted up because of reasons that the police already know with him. He is a special needs kid. Yeah, and it feels like the police have seen him. Okay, right, easy target. How can we do this? There's the back door there. And the way that he was answering questions, sometimes it was the inclination of his voice went up towards the end. So did he do this? Yes. It's as if he's questioning himself. He's trying to please the police officers. He's got police officers around him, and they want to hear answers, and he wants to please them. And that's the way it came across to me, anyway.
No, I mean that's a classic police technique. I mean, hey, we're your friends. You could talk to us. We're everything's good. You want a soda? That kind of stuff. And they're doing this to a kid who literally doesn't understand that. Doesn't understand. He's got no reason to think he can incriminate himself, and that's what it is. Is that the kid ends up, by telling this story and actually not even telling this story, following the story that they're feeding him. And whether or not he said anything prior, if this kid is going to give you something that you're going to try to then use in court against him or against his cousin, was it his cousin or uncle? I forget whether Avery, uncle. Okay. Use against his uncle. You have to let him use his own words. You can't lead him. And it was disgusting. It still disgusts me to this day. I'm probably babbling at this point because it gets me so angry.
No. You definitely not. The lead-in happened a couple of times, I felt. Because you had it in that room, but then there was also a second and a third interview with him which were recorded. And it's pretty much rinse and repeat with what is going on. They're feeding him this stuff, and he's trying to answer these questions in the best way which will please the people in front of him. And that's just incriminating himself more and more. And then you get bloody his defense lawyers, which are just fucking evil bastards as far as I'm concerned. Because they weren't there defending him. They were there for the publicity.
Absolutely.
And it was a stepping stone onto greater things, and we're going to use this kid's head to get there.
When his lawyer had him sit down with the private detective and repeatedly write over the story, so that basically he was getting the kid to tell himself what happened.
Yeah.
That was despicable. And I remember watching it with Melissa, and I knew that this is what was going to happen. I'm watching, I'm like, this motherfucker, I know exactly what's going to happen. I can tell you right now. And she was like, no. Because she wanted to believe, no, he's actually going to try to find a way to help this kid. And this is going to, this private detective is actually trying to help him. And I'm like, no, he's trying to get him to concretely tell this story so that they could go for whatever deal they want to try to make to try to, that's going to benefit them more than the kid. Because like you said, it was about publicity. I felt like this kid just never had a chance with anyone whose hands he was in. Yeah. And that to me, like Making a Murderer, as much as it's about Steven Avery, for me, it's always been about Brendan Dassey.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Doreen brings up a very important thing in the chat room, which is on Mixler. She said in the courtroom, Kyla,
sister.
Brendan's cousin.
That's it, cousin, not sister.
Who was apparently 14 when the murder happened. It sounds like the school counsellors told the police staff she had told them about Brendan. So there was it came up in the courtroom that Brendan had spoken to Kayla and admitted what had happened. Then that got flagged up to the school, that went through to the police, and that's why they swooped in on him. So I totally forgot all about that. But then in the courtroom, she turns around and says it was all a lie. It was all made up. This family is just imploding from the centre.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on?
And plus, as well, after that, and they show this in the documentary, he then, after the interview, Dassey speaks to his mother on the phone.
Oh, see, that is heartbreaking.
Yes.
And I did it. You did what? I did some of it. And then she goes off on one about how much she hates Avery. The documentary cuts off there, but he then apparently goes on to explain to his mother how Avery used to molest him as well. So it's again, they're leaving little bits out to try and... They're not trying to hang Dassey so much as just trying to make Avery look better.
Yeah.
By leaving little bits out like that.
Yeah.
As well, I found.
Yeah. See, Sean mentioned about the interrogator that was brought in by his defense lawyer.
Yeah.
And that recorded meeting, you said about him trying to feed him the story and trying to get him to the story. Even before all of that happened, he was laying it on the line saying, okay, you have to sign these papers saying that either you did it and you want my help or you don't want my help. And it was only two options. And the poor kid sat there going, well, I didn't do anything. There's no option for that.
Yeah.
No. It's either this or this. There's no in between.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there going, hang on, surely there should be a third box where I can tick saying, this is all a mistake. And he's like, no, you have to confess. And so then he's feed, and the way he's turning around and saying, okay, now draw the bed, and now draw the lady on the bed, and draw her chained to the bed. And the kid, once again, is just trying to please people. And he's, okay, you want me to draw a picture of a bed? I'll draw a picture of the bed and the lady on the bed and her chained up. And there you go. And that's proof that he was there? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Well, then remember it turned out that what he actually drew up, this whole, that whole picture and the way he described things was very similar to Kiss the Girls from James Patterson.
Right.
Well, he actually said that he got it from.
And he actually
Kiss
said
the
he
Girls.
got it from. He said he got it from that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, which kind of puts a little bit of doubt in my mind as to just how intelligent Brendan Dassey is.
Okay.
Because that book's way above his reading average.
Yeah, but it was also a movie.
Yeah, I suppose.
I feel that they played that card a bit too late in the day. All of a sudden now he's got a book related to it. They should have either played that card way before.
Yeah.
It just feels that is a coached line. You know, the poor kid was going, I don't know, all the way through that court hearing. And then it's felt so out of place, as if you must mention this book and this scene, and it's from that book, and the author is this. Okay, I will remember that. And then the next answer to the next question is, I don't know. It just didn't work for me. Just really didn't work. Poor kid, though. Poor kid. There was another thing I was going to mention. I can't remember it. It's gone out of my head now. Damn.
Oh, postscript to the Brendan Dasseys story. He's now out.
Yes. Well, is he definitely? I know that he was being released. He's actually out.
Out and fabulous. No, I think they've actually released him now.
Okay.
I think they've actually released him. So
good.
And literally, that was on. I think it was. Is it Kathleen Zellner? She's taken on the case, and I think she got his conviction thrown out as unsafe on the basis of that coached interview.
Wow.
From what I understand, anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, I know we've covered him. The murder apparently took place in Avery's bedroom. Is that correct? Am I getting that right?
Yes.
But according to the story, they finished her off in the garage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she was raped, stabbed in the stomach, and then throttled in the bedroom, and then they took her to the garage and shot her.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
But there was not a drop of blood in that room.
Yeah, I find the lack of blood disturbing.
That is potentially explainable.
Okay.
What did they have out in the yard? Did they have a big bonfire?
Yes, they did, yeah.
Could they not have stuck everything that had any blood on it in the bonfire?
Yeah, but we're talking about the actual, like, the ground. I mean,
Again, bleach.
And there.
But if she's on the bed, the blood. I mean, I don't know, because I've not actually stabbed somebody multiple times in a bedroom.
From what I get from the documentary, right, is I was led to believe that she was stabbed and had her throat slashed on the bed whilst chained to that bed, then taken to the garage, had a cap popped into her head, and then burned.
Yeah.
Now, they say forensics, the way they are at the moment, even microscopic pieces of blood, you're not going to get rid of splatter or anything like that. If there's going to be blood, it will be still there. They're not unless they torch that room, it's still going to be there. There's still going to be microscopic pieces of blood there. Especially in the garage, where she was allegedly shot in the garage, and you're going to have splatter of...
And again, we're going to, if the theory is that you could take anything and everything that might potentially have blood on it, and you can burn it, you would think, then you're saying that he was capable of coming up with that idea, but again, not thinking to crush the car.
There you go.
It just doesn't add up. It's two different minds.
But then you've also, if you're going to come at it that way, you've also got to make the logical leap that, well, somebody is having to fit him up. So you've got an entire police force is also thinking the other way around on this.
Yeah.
Here's another question. How come the key evidence, no pun intended, is found at a time when the department is told they're not allowed to access the house without the other department?
The Wanatock County.
Wanatock County and the
Calumet.
Because they were told to stay away, weren't they?
No. No. They said, because of the previous, we will stay away. However, nothing official was ever done about this.
Okay, that's semantics.
That's the man. So if Calumet needed help, because Calumet County is not very big, as you know, neither is Manitowoc. If they needed the manpower, if they needed help, they would call upon Manitowoc. There was never actually any, we will not go on here, you must not go in here. It was a gentleman's agreement, essentially. But if you need us, we will help.
Right, okay. So the copper that went in and found the key inside...
Old lanky boy.
Yeah. What relation does he have to Steven Avery, and what's their history between each other?
He was one of the major players in the original fit-up way back when. So all of a sudden, he starts appearing on the scene whilst contentious bits of evidence start appearing.
Now, they found that key, the 7th time they'd been into that room?
Yeah. Six, I think it was.
Yeah, and they'd swept that room, they'd shaken everything up, moved it around, taken photographs of everything, and then they find that key.
Then, with the guy who had previously set him up.
Yeah.
That's a little troubling.
Also,
that definitely is. I mean, the only thing with that is when they DNA tested the key, the only DNA they found on it was Avery's, which again is very odd.
Yes, because you'd expect to have Teresa's DNA.
You'd expect Teresa Halbach's on there.
Yeah.
So the two explanations are it's a fit up, or Avery bleached the key.
Right. Bleach can get rid of all the DNA, and then you can swab his DNA onto that freshly cleaned key.
Yeah, or Avery could breathe on it.
Yeah,
himself.
There was also talk about the garage where allegedly she was shot. They found a bullet in the garage. But there was no signs of the garage being bleached because they found average DNA in the ground, on the cracks and everything. If it was bleached, that wouldn't be there.
No, it was bleached, and Dassey actually said that as part of his, later on in the case, part of his alibi was he was cleaning the garage with bleach whilst all this was supposedly happening. And we do have, I don't know if it's actually in the documentary, but he actually has a pair of jeans that are splattered with bleach from where he was cleaning the garage floor. Right. So the garage was actually swept with bleach.
But they still found Avery's DNA in the garage on the floor.
Have you seen the garage?
Oh, yeah, it's a shithole.
It's a fucking mess.
Yeah.
But so, the specific
if you're gonna take everything out and burn it and bleach it and stuff, you'd think you'd put it back in better condition.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't think even the police took everything out of the garage in the end.
But they went in there many times. That's the thing that I can't understand. See, the documentary is leading the viewer towards this is a massive setup by the police. They've take out the equation that someone has been murdered and that has been covered up. A car has been planted onto his estate. Some body parts have been planted onto his estate, and everyone's pointing the finger at him. And then his nephew is being fed lines to set him up even more, or just to put final nails in the coffin. It's you can see where this documentary is going, but
oh yeah,
when I was watching it, I was going, "What the flipping hell is going on here?" It was so remarkable.
Yeah, the thing I would say with the key is, did they know they were looking for a key? Because if they were told find evidence,
right?
They're not looking for specifics, which is why they went over the property so many times.
So
I would imagine.
So the opposite of finding the car really quickly.
Kind of, yeah. You're looking for. I mean, with the car, you're looking for the car. It's a big thing.
I don't know.
It's like, sorry. I thought Sean said something.
I just that's where. No, I think my Skype did a little glitchy thing. Yeah, the whole finding the key and the garage, those to me are very suspicious. I mean, I definitely think that Making a Murderer, the documentary, had a bias towards Avery. I think that was their whole point was to aim things towards, look, this is a guy who was wrongfully convicted. Oh, and look, it happened again.
Yeah.
But even if you can, even stepping back from everything and just looking objectively at what's been presented just on face value, it's not open and shut. There are certainly question marks for Manitowoc County police.
Oh, definitely.
My personal belief, my personal theory is whether or not Avery is actually guilty. I think that the police were determined to make him the guilty party.
I think they would. I think they knew he was. They were making sure, but they did it in such a poor fashion that they brought attention to themselves.
Yeah.
In quite a hilarious fashion.
Can I ask you both? I'll ask Sean first. This. Let's just presume the police weren't trying to fit him up. Who did, out of all of these things that are going on, who did kill this lady if Steven Avery didn't?
If he didn't kill her, I have very strong feelings about possibly the boyfriend. I also have a theory that not a lot of people have brought up, as far as I understand. And it's not a theory. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not going to say that I absolutely believe this. But one thing that went through my head, a passing thought, when they showed Teresa Halbach's, she made a video saying how much she loved her family and whatnot and all that.
Mm.
That just seemed like a very odd video for someone to make. And it kind of read like a suicide note to me. And the thought went through my head, like, can you imagine if, and this is putting in the back of my mind, the dispatcher and that whole, I know we discussed, and I certainly understand the explanation that Pete gave, and that certainly may be valid about why he was reading the plate the way he did. But that put into my head this idea of, can you imagine if they want to get this Avery guy and they found this woman who blew her brains out on the side of the road and they went, ooh, here's our opportunity.
Oh, wow. I hadn't even thought about that.
Again, I'm not trying to say that is what happened, that I believe this, but that is just an idea that went through my head. I mean, if we're going to go on the idea that Steven Avery definitely didn't do it, that's a thought. Another thought also is I do, and this is potentially very unfair because the only thing I know of her family is the way that they were presented in the documentary. But I noticed that video of Teresa, she talks about the people in her family she loves. She doesn't talk about her brother. And he's very front and center on wanting justice for his sister. So I certainly would, but again, this could be very unfair. I know that, Pete may be seething on the other end of this. But
he is.
Yeah, I had a feeling he would be. But just thinking in terms of watching this documentary from an entertainment, oh my God, can you imagine if point of view, that's another thought. But ultimately, my ultimate conclusion is I don't know if Steven Avery is innocent or guilty. I don't necessarily, I don't think that to me, that wasn't even the point of the documentary. To me, the point is whether or not he's guilty. I don't think that this was a fair investigation, and I don't think this was a fair trial. And I think that there was certainly reasonable doubt, whether it's intent or incompetence on Manitowoc County Police.
Mm.
And therefore, I think that his conviction is unjust, even if he's guilty. because in terms of justice, it's innocent until proven guilty, and if you have reasonable doubt, you have to acquit. And I think that the words of one of his lawyers are what I take away, and how I feel is that if he did, I hope he did do it, because if he didn't, just imagine how awful this is.
Yeah.
So it was unfair that he was unfairly convicted, but hopefully there's some justice in the world and he actually is guilty, and therefore, even though the conviction is unjust, it is ultimately a legitimately just outcome.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel on it.
Okay. Pete, what about yourself? Yeah, who would have done this, or how would this lady have been killed?
I think if it wasn't Avery, I would lean more towards his two brothers.
Okay.
Because everything is found on the Avery lot. Everything's in place for somebody on that lot to have done everything that has been, that has transpired even. It may not have been Steven Avery himself. It may have been one of the two brothers, Chuck and Earl. And if it wasn't Avery, I would strongly lean towards those two.
Mm-hmm.
Principally because all the reasons, if you take like the blood DNA that was found in the RAV4 with the blood vial, if you take all that take all that circumstantial DNA evidence out, you still have everything taking place on the Avery lot when the Averys are about.
Yeah.
Even if it was the two brothers that did it, or one of the two brothers, Steven Avery was still complicit because they had a fucking bonfire with a human body right outside his bedroom window. So if it wasn't Avery, I would strongly lean towards either Chuck or Earl.
Yeah.
On that. With the brother, again, looking at the nature of this documentary and what it leaves out, how it's edited, how it uses musical cues and all the rest of it, I do not believe for 1 second that the video that they showed of Howlback, I don't think that was played in its entirety, and I think that was potentially edited. Because I get what Sean says about the ex-boyfriend and to an extent the brother as well. But I became very, very uncomfortable with the way that the brother was being portrayed in the documentary.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like, well, he wasn't mentioned in the video, and he's very front and center, and he's very calm, he's very robotic. Let's linger on him for a little while. Let's have a bit of a look at him. Now, unfortunately, I speak from bitter experience on this. The reason, and I can completely see where the brother is coming from on this. If you look at it, the rest of the family are stony-faced and do not speak to the press in any way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
Mother's very quiet. The sisters are very quiet. They stay out of it. But for press purposes, you kind of need a family representative to speak to the press. And obviously, the eldest brother was nominated. Sometimes that's how that goes. So spotlight is on him whenever he speaks to the press. Put yourself in his shoes. He's just lost his sister.
Yeah.
And the man that is accused of her murder, and it looks very much like he did it, is stood 10 feet away from you. You have to be robotic. You have to be calm. Because I can bet anything that all that was going through that guy's head was, I'm going to claw your face off, pal. Now, when I say I speak from bitter experience, many people that know me will know that my brother was run over and killed 19 years ago now. my parents never told me when the inquest was, because they knew that would put me in a room with the person that ran him over.
Mm.
And as my father said, tongue in cheek, but no, sorry, not sorry. We've just lost one son. We don't want to lose the pair of you, because I would have done 22 years for it.
Yeah.
So I can completely see why the brother. It looks bad on the video. It looks bad on the show. He's robotic. He's emotionless, but that's because he has to be.
Yeah.
So that's why I was receiving on the other end.
No, I totally get that.
But I would definitely say on that but for my money, if it wasn't Avery, then it was one of the two brothers.
Okay. For my money, I love that suicide theory. I think that's brilliant.
Well, let's make it go viral.
Apart from the only hole in it is the bullet they found did come from Avery's rifle.
Yeah, right. Well, that is where I was swaying on. One of the brothers, there was a very quick shot, an interview with one of the brothers saying that he was going out hunting.
Yes.
And it was very brief, but it was enough to stick in my head that, okay, you're going out hunting with a gun. And there hasn't really been any other mentions of any other guns or anything like that. And you think, what if, just by chance, because my vision of America, there are states where I've seen welcome to this state, and there's a fuck ton of bullet holes in this state, and you think, oh, okay, brilliant, well done. What happens if it was an accident? It could have been an accident with a misfire or someone farting around with a rifle and then covered up, and then Steven Avery as, okay, let's just burn it and then we'll get rid of the car later. This is how I'm thinking, maybe. But then again, with Steven Avery, he's just come out of prison doing 18 years. I think he thinks he's untouchable. He's walking around, bowling around, putting out this, he wants 36 million from the county. And I think he was thinking he was totally untouchable at this time. And maybe something happened. I think it may be a family thing that happened here. Maybe.
Because the other thing as well with the brother theory, with my theory about one of the brothers, Barbara Yonder goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth about her feelings for Steven Avery.
Mm-hmm.
Her son, Brendan Dasseys, tells her that Steven Avery molested him. So the husband of Barbara Yonder does have a bit of a motive there. And plus, it's a very quick scene, but after the conviction, one of the brothers is seen hurling abuse at them at the end of the documentary. Do you remember seeing that bit? It's quite dark, and they're driving off.
Is that when they jump into the car and someone mouths off outside the car?
Yeah. I think that's the bit.
Right.
Mm.
Okay.
So if it wasn't Steven, I'd say it's one of the brothers.
Okay. Doreen brings up another point. Where was it? If Teresa was already dead when she was shot, which I think we're led to believe, would that limit the bleeding? Also, would it prevent too much mess in the garage floor?
Potentially, yes. Because once your heart stops, there's no pressure.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, right, we've got 10 minutes left. I think what we'll do, I want to get onto the vial. Is that all right?
Blood vial.
Is that all right, guys?
Yeah, go for it.
And then what we'll do, if it goes off in the Mixler room, we do apologise, but we'll finish it off at the very end. So really, you have to download it anyway to get all the final goodness. So let's leave it at that. So apologies to the Mixler if it just dies and cuts off. But we won't be coming back after that. But we'll finish it behind
That's when all the good
doors.
stuff's going to come.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So that means you definitely do have to download it. Okay, right. So, guys, the vial that was in tampered evidence boxes, where do we sit on that? Because there was blood in the RAV4. It was Steven Avery's. It was just whispers of blood, and it was potentially from a cut on his hand. But then
there were similar blood marks in his own car.
Is that in the documentary?
Well. Nope.
Jesus Christ.
This is how TV works.
Oh yeah, I'm fully aware of that.
Where was that? Where was that though?
Sorry?
Where was that though? Where'd that come from?
Again, I think it's in the court documents. Because they were because it does look. I mean, if you look at the blood marks, it does look like somebody's got a cotton bud, or as I believe you Americans call them, Q-tips,
Yes.
and just got a blood smear and just gone around by the keyhole. But no, they were virtually identical marks in his own car.
Okay, before you said that sentence, what does everyone think? No, about blood marks being in his own car as well. What did everyone think when the vial was brought out? Sean, what was your thoughts on that?
Oh, obviously, when that showed up, I mean, that was one of those episodes where it was like, this is the last episode we're watching tonight, and it's, oh no, we're watching more, because the way that ended with, it was like, oh my god, aha, look, here it is. They're definitely fucking with him.
And then the vial goes away, and it's never spoken of again.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Because the hole in the top of the vial. Ooh, somebody's put a needle in there. Yeah, the fucking nurse that drew the blood back in 1985.
It took me a little while to work that out.
They actually had the nurse come forward and say, "Yeah, I did that. That's how it's meant to look, mate." But they didn't actually have her on obviously didn't have her on the documentary. I don't think they even needed her in court, because essentially they said, look, we found this vial, we found the blood vial, it's got a hole in the top, somebody put a needle in it, and somebody said, yeah, it's a vacuum seal the vial, that's how it's meant to look. How do you think we got the blood in there in the first place?
Yeah, these vials.
So you have the boom, mic drop, case closed. Oh fuck, no, not really.
Yeah, these vials are vacuum chambers, and it just draws the blood instantly in there, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not a syringe; it's a vacuum, so it will suck the blood down a double-ended needle in there. That's how you get the blood.
Yeah,
and then they also did and coating the inside is an anticoagulant called EDTA, and they tested the blood for EDTA. There was no EDTA in the blood sample.
Yeah, I was getting lost with that.
I'll be honest, yeah, I got a little confused, and this is when I really wish Melissa was here, because she was like all about the science on that. I know that the defense team alleged that there wasn't a proper test for EDTA.
They did do it. They said it was going to take. It was a little bit odd that all of a sudden, I think they got the FBI to do it, and it came back in days, rather than do it locally when local Manitowoc County bloody science labs, fucking hell. But I think they got the FBI to do it, and the results came back in days, and hoi hup blah.
I did also hear that they, the person testing the blood, got her blood mixed up inside the test sample as well.
No, that was the DNA evidence on the bullet.
Okay, yeah.
I remember that.
Basically, what they did a blood test. They did the test on the bullet, and then you obviously have a control subject as well. The woman doing the test on that, her lab practice wasn't the best, shall we say, and she contaminated with her saliva the control test, but not the DNA test from the bullet.
Right, I see. Okay.
So the defence was saying, well, we've got to throw that out, which technically they're right on that one. But they couldn't do a retest because there was so little DNA on the bullet itself.
Yeah. Yeah, that should have been thrown out. But they still accepted it, though, didn't they?
I think they accepted it because there was no more DNA to use, which everybody's going, oh, that's a coincidence, or that's convenient, isn't it? Well, if you think about it, there's very, very little DNA to be had on a bullet anyway, because bullets get quite hot and it burns most of it off.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Is there anything else you want to cover before we come to our own conclusions on this? It is, for anyone listening and you haven't watched this series, there is so much we're missing. This definitely doesn't cover all of it.
Rather like the documentary itself, there's quite a lot we're leaving out.
Yes, definitely. It is, even though you've listened to this, I would highly recommend go back and watch it one episode at a time and let it soak in. Because I feel like I need to do that again now about this. Yeah. There is so much information coming at you. And then it turns into a courtroom drama as well, where it's to and fro, and I flipping love courtroom dramas. I love all that stuff. But some of it is heartbreaking. Some of it will make you infuriate, just full of rage at times as well. And then you're on the side of the family, and then you're not on the side of the family. It is a massive roller coaster. So it is well worth going back and watching this. But
you know what's interesting is that one thing I found fascinating, or one thing that kept going through my head as I was watching it, is it's kind of amazing how these documentarians were there throughout all of this, like, through all the twists and turns that they, like, did they start? I don't remember if they ever described this. I don't remember the documentarians ever putting themselves front and center. It's certainly not in the show. But were they originally just documenting the release from prison for the first crime, for the one that he was clearly unlawfully or unjustly convicted of, and then they just stayed on? Like, how do you know what I mean? Like, it just seemed fascinating how they were there for so much.
I think that's exactly what happened. They were, I can't remember the name of the foundation, but they do look into unsafe convictions like this one, like the Adnan one that's covered in Serial. Don't get me started on Serial. But they were following. I think they were just going to be doing that first part and documenting what happened when he was fitted up, and then essentially they got lucky, as it were.
Or maybe the documentary filmmakers did it. No, just kidding.
Fuck! That's why so much is left out.
It's the perfect crime.
That makes us accessories to murder as well.
That would make all of us accessories to murder. Oh my god! But
I think essentially they did get lucky, in a matter of speaking.
Yeah, right place, right time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to admit. Yeah, when a court case is going, did you know about this when it was going live, Sean? Because was it major news?
No, it was not. The only thing, it was definitely not major news. This was a very obscure case. No, I don't think anybody, unless you lived in that part of the country, unless you lived in Wisconsin or even in Manitowoc County, because apparently it was very big up there. But anywhere else in the country, you didn't know about this. This was an obscure piece of news. What we did know, the district attorney, the scandal that broke with him was well known. And of course, I can't remember exactly what it was that he did. Was it texting with a minor, or?
It was basically the good man Kenneth Kratz, voiced by the paedophile from Family Guy, was using his position and social standing to lever sexual favours from young women who he had been prosecuting and or defending in court.
Yes, that reached national news because we just love tabloid journalism here in the country.
And that made it into the documentary as well.
Yes, then it wasn't until that because the whole time watching the documentary, I severely disliked him, but I also felt like I knew him somehow. And then when that came up, it was like, oh shit, it's that guy. So that's the only element of this story that any of us around the rest of the country knew about. So,
wow,
yeah,
because I hadn't heard about this when I first started watching it, or even speaking about it. I hadn't known about Steven Avery or the cousin or the nephew or anything that was going on. That's why I was so intrigued after the first episode. Just didn't know what to expect, and then you get blindsided by all of this capering, what is going on after. But from this document, are there any heart-wrenching bits that you remember? Are there any key scenes that you remember that you'd just like to touch on, or what? Let's go with Pete on this one first.
It's at the time of watching, I think the big one for me was when Dassey was, rather than being upset about the fact that he was in police custody, and rather than the fact that he potentially did or did not help the murder and disposal of a human body, he was more bothered about missing WrestleMania.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that. Oh,
that was going to be my one.
Yeah, it was. That hurt. That hurt so bad though, because it's like that just goes to show how innocent-minded this kid was. Like he didn't, he hadn't a clue. The kid had no clue. I mean,
the other thing with Brendan Dassey that always stuck in my mind is in the interviewing, they were saying, "What did you do to her head? What did you do to her head? What did you do to her head?" And he said, "We cut her hair." No. Yeah.
Punched
her.
No,
you didn't cut her hair, did you?
Yeah, punched her.
No,
and...
getting warmer, and shot her. Yeah! How many times? Twice? No.
That's the thing though. He didn't turn around and say shoot her. They turned around and said to him, "Okay, who shot her?"
Who shot? At which point, and this is the only thing that sort of made me feel a little uneasy about Dassey. Who shot it? Steven. No hesitation. Everything else has been, and then all of a sudden, who shot it? Steven.
But they are questioning about the murder on Steven's property, and it is based around him anyway. So that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. It's just the way that he was so hesitant and clearly coached on everything else, but that was Steven.
Yeah. Sean, what about
Adam and Joe fans just coming? Never mind.
Sean, what about yourself? What stands out to you?
Oh well, I think I said it before that Steven Dassey, when that moment where he's like, at the end of the interview where he's just incriminated himself, and he's like, "All right, well, I got a test. Can I go back to class now?" And it's just like, "Yeah, no, you're not going to." They're like, well, I think they even say something like, "Yeah, I don't think so," or something. I forget exactly what they say to him, but I just remember.
I think that is what they say.
It's like, you poor bastard, like, and I was going to tweet when the word came that his conviction was being overturned, that he was being released. I was going to tweet this, but I held myself back because I just thought, this is a little maybe, I don't know, awful. But I was going to tweet like, I guess Steven gets to go back to social studies now, but yeah, it was but that's it. I mean, like I said earlier, I mean, this really comes down for me. It's not even about Avery. It's about this poor kid that got railroaded. But on Avery, I keep thinking about that one lawyer, and his sentiment is my sentiment. This trial and this investigation was so poorly handled, and it was a miscarriage of justice. I just hope he is actually guilty, because then we can sleep at night. Because if we put an innocent man in jail again, that's pretty awful.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's pretty much my end feelings on that.
Yeah. A couple of things from me, I suppose. Number one, the hot reporter. Hello.
Oh my God.
Is it wrong? Is it wrong to be sat in your room with a semi while they're talking about dead bodies? I don't know.
So long as you're not actually ejaculating when they're talking about dismembering her, I think you're okay.
I wasn't, but I was poking it a bit. But yeah.
Is it also wrong to think that George Lucas part funded this documentary because they clearly used the original Yoda puppet to play Steven Avery's mum?
Oh God. Oh, I actually thought. All right, if we're gonna take it down that road, I actually, those like baby head masks.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's all I could think of. I just basically, his mom. I feel awful because I think, like, of all the, if I could ask this question, who does, of everyone there, and we'll take Dassey off the table because he's such an easy one to say. Who do you feel the worst for? I felt awful for the mom. It just seemed like this poor woman, like her family, like she's just going through all this shit. But yeah, but I did, in a mean way, did look at her and go, oh yeah, that kind of reminds me of, baby head mask. God, we're bad people. How did this team flop so quickly?
I'm terrible. I fully admit I'm awful. Thank
God this is the part that's off Mixlr.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's the part that everyone's downloading just to listen to, isn't it?
I will admit I was surprised that his father saw the end of the documentary because his health seemed to be deteriorating quite rapidly at one point.
Yeah.
And I genuinely was sort of starting to think, oh, Christ, But yeah.
Oh, I did think of one other thing that stuck with me too. Is I did get the sense that given everything they went through and all the money they sunk into the defense and everything, that the sad irony of all of this. I don't know if irony is the right word, but given that the entire community really saw the Averys as a blight, that as a result of all this, in the end, the town probably ended up getting their property, or if they haven't, will eventually, because I can't imagine that could be sustainable for them.
Oh God, no.
So in the
I
end,
it was being sold off.
Yeah, I got that impression. So in the end, the community ended up certainly getting what they wanted out of all this.
Yeah. With the family being gone, yeah.
Yeah.
I did look onto Google Maps while I was watching this, and I found the Averys' property and their business on there, and someone has left a review on there along the lines of, it's a great place, but they don't seem to do any RAV4s, and I'm really disappointed.
Oh, fucking hell!
Oh no!
Oh fucking hell!
I thought I took that down.
Oh no! Oh.
I think if I may bring it back to a serious point, I think my big takeaway from watching Making a Murderer, well, two really, is that it's quite amusing. Well, not amusing. It's kind of depressing, really, how the court of public opinion can sway a court. Well, not a court, but well, as I said about my experience online, I dared to venture an opinion contrary to the popular one, and was immediately hounded by people that felt that they were in the right. The second one, and I think this is the most important, is that linked to that first point, the Holbachs will never get justice for Teresa. There's just no way now. I don't think Avery or whoever they go after for it, there will never be a fair trial because of this documentary. And when I say fair trial, I mean fair on whoever's accused, fair on whoever's defending, fair on whoever's prosecuting. I think that because Making a Murderer has become such a big thing and has become so well publicised, that I don't think anybody can be truly objective about it now.
I don't think I could blame Netflix for that, though, because...
Oh, no, I'm not blaming Netflix.
No.
But it's just the fact that now exists. It's hugely popular. It has really gripped nations.
Yeah.
And it's so compelling. If you were to only to watch the documentary and do no reading around, which the vast majority of people, let's face it, have done, they've just watched the documentary. They've not done any work themselves. If all you've done is watch that documentary, your mind is made up. The police are corrupt. Steven Avery is innocent. Somebody else did this. And because of that, I don't think a fair and objective trial will ever be held for, the murderer of Teresa Halbach.
Okay. Well, on that note, then, can we go to our thoughts on is he innocent? Is he guilty? What do we take away from this? Let's go repeat with that first.
I think he's guilty. Even if he didn't deliver the killing blow, as it were, he definitely had a hand in it somewhere. He has said in court transcripts and all the rest of it that he was in his property at the time that she was shot, killed, and burnt. The burn pit is right outside his bedroom window. There's no way that he would not have noticed a human body burning away outside his bedroom window.
Yeah.
I would say
if she was burned there.
Well, she was on there.
We know for a fact she was burned there?
Yes, because her body was weighed down with tyres, and the ribs and parts of the pelvis that they found were intertwined with the steel belts from tyres.
Okay.
She was put on the bonfire along with whatever else, weighed down with tyres, and accelerant was used, and woof, set fire to. And that was done right outside his bedroom window. So if he didn't actually do it himself, there's no way he couldn't be aware of it. In my humble opinion.
Okay. Sean, what about you?
I think personally it's irrelevant whether or not he did it. Looking at it from a legal standpoint, for all that we know, for all that's come out outside of the documentary, there's enough again to suggest that there were some questionable actions on the part of the police department, and just the fact that one of the things that, I mean, wasn't he convicted largely on Dasseys' testimony?
Dasseys' testimony did, in inverted commas, help.
Well, because we've since thrown out Dasseys' conviction.
Dassey went down first, didn't he?
That was the interesting thing. Dassey went down first, and he went down for everything. He went down for the rape and sexual assault of Halbach as well, whereas Avery did not. The reason being is there's no physical evidence, and Dassey admitted it, or in inverted commas admitted it. Yeah. But yeah, certainly I think that Dassey's confession did help convict Avery. But I think, as you say, the investigation was conducted so poorly that most of the evidence is questionable.
Yeah, and on that basis, it's an unjust conviction. And I think that, just speaking from a legal standpoint and speaking from the standpoint of, we all deserve equal protection under the law. Whether or not he actually did it, it sets a very frightening precedent for our justice system. It certainly doesn't make me feel comfortable should I ever be accused of a crime. So I think that there was certainly a failure on the justice system's part in this, and I think that personally, I think it's very plausible that he did do it. And again, I'm gonna say what I said earlier. I agree with what the one lawyer said. I hope, given that he was convicted, and assuming that the conviction won't be overturned, if it's not overturned, I hope he did do it, just so that the right person did get convicted, even if convicted wrongly.
Right. Okay. Wow. This is amazing. It really is. Just going over it all over again. Okay, from my point of view, do I think he did it or not? I think I'm more in the camp with Pete of, if he didn't do it, he was involved in something to do with it. Someone in the family did it. I think it was either him or the brothers. But I say that because he's so adamant that he turns around and says he didn't do it all the time. He's constantly sticking with that story. And so maybe in his mind he's, well, I didn't kill her, so I didn't do it. And didn't he say he wants a polygraph on it as well? He's quite happy to take a polygraph on it as well.
Oh, sure. Anybody can do a polygraph.
Well, yeah. But it was, do I think he killed her or not? I think he was involved. Whether he killed her or not, I do not know. I really do not know. It is surprising though, because when I came out of the documentary, all 10 episodes, and before I did more reading on it, he's innocent. He's been stitched up. The police are all bent. They've been bent 18 years ago, and they still want to be bent on him, and he's been sent down for no reason whatsoever. And his poor nephew as well. But after reading, I think I feel sorry for Brendan.
Yeah.
And what's happened with him. But then again, if he's there and it's a family thing, then he might well have been involved as well. I think it's just impossible it really is impossible to work out what has happened here. I personally think that they're all involved. But to what state? I don't think the right person's in jail, though.
Not for the right thing, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And we'll never know for sure. We'll absolutely never know for sure. But fascinating stuff.
It is a fascinating documentary, really is. And next time something's like this on, guys, just give me a dig in the ribs and tell me to watch it. Crying out loud.
Have you listened to Serial?
I tried to listen to Serial when I got back from the Black Dog shindig, and I was a little bit drunk, and I went to sleep that night listening to it, and I haven't tried it since. I might try it. Is it worth it?
Personally, no. And from this, I can blame Making a Murderer, because Making a Murderer, since I've done a bit of reading and research around the whole thing, it's taught me to view documentaries and take their conclusions and take the subjects with a pinch of salt. And all I took away from Serial was that the woman doing it, I can't remember the girl's name, but it sounds very, very much like she is deeply in love with her subject, Adnan. Oh, fuck, what's his fucking surname? The guy that's inside.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I've not actually personally listened, but I know.
But you can almost hear the rustling of her hands down her pants every time she says his name. It's really weird. And they did Serial season 2, where they did the subject with this guy who went AWOL in Afghanistan, and the guy, maybe he shouldn't have been on the front line, but what he did was inexcusable. But again, she completely and utterly sides with him and really steers the whole series towards, you should feel sorry for him. Yes, I know he left his post on the front line in Afghanistan, put all his colleagues in danger, but we'll ignore that because he's cute. And it makes me feel deeply uncomfortable listening to it.
Well,
it was I saw it through to the end, but
yeah,
I think if the documentarian's going in with a agenda, I think it really does cloud what you actually come out at the end of. I mean, documentaries like Blackfish, there are definite hard scientific facts to back up what happens in that documentary.
Yeah, but I mean,
but they're obviously they have the agenda.
Yeah, I mean, every documentary has an agenda.
But then you have documentaries like the ones shot by Louis Theroux. He doesn't have an agenda. He goes in with the rope and lets them hang themselves. But he's not going in there. Even with the white supremacist one that he did when he was first starting out, he wasn't going in there to make them look stupid or make them look bigoted or make them look like what they are. It was literally, I'm just going to stand back, here's the rope, off you go.
But that's the agenda, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's when I say, I suppose I'm using the word agenda wrong. Really, he's not trying to make you think a certain way.
Right.
Yeah, he
lets
whereas them...
this certainly is.
Yeah, it's not trying to persuade you or pull at your emotion.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I think that, but I think that, I mean, that's most documentaries are trying to, they're part position paper and part entertainment.
Yeah.
And that's, we have to, I think the smart thing is to watch it, take it in, let it affect you, but then, your due diligence and look beyond it.
Yeah, do your homework.
And by that, I think that, also looking into, legitimate sources. I mean, I like that, a lot of your points, you brought up the court transcripts and things of that nature. I think that what tends to happen is that, just as people will only watch the documentary, say, and then go on the firestorm on the internet, ripping everybody apart, as you described, there'll be others who'll then kind of fall into their circular reasoning and listen to podcasts that only serve, whatever it is they believe. And, it's with anything, any form of media, due diligence, but I think in this case, there's certainly a lot that's pretty evident to help you form some opinions, and a lot more out there to help you, challenge those opinions. But in the end, I really don't think we'll ever truly know what happened.
No.
No.
And it makes it an interesting, I mean, certainly, one of the reasons why we've discussed this now for 3 hours?
Fucking hell, yeah.
Yeah, getting on that, yeah. Jesus.
But it's, so next week, Jean Benet?
No, I was thinking the McCanns.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ!
Actually, have you ever listened to? I imagine you probably have the Generation Y podcasts.
Yeah, not a fan. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 6 of one, half dozen of the other with them, but it was it was interesting to hear them do British cases, because they literally do just look at the evidence on that. I mean, they did Steven Avery, and there were quite a few holes you could pick in their actual podcast. They were, so when I said that he star 67'd 2 phone calls and then made a third one. Well, in their podcast, they say that he left a message.
Yeah.
When he didn't.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they're kind of sloppy sometimes.
Yeah, but the British ones they did, the Madeleine McCann one they do is very good.
Yeah,
they're quite thorough with that, and the Princess Diana one's brilliant.
Right, I'm gonna have to dive into that.
The Princess Diana one's it actually quite It's quite funny what they come out with in the end.
No.
Yeah.
But
well, I am thinking of doing a Where Were You episode of Shonky Lab. So maybe Where Were You when the Twin Towers was going on? Where were you when Princess Di happened? And certain things like that. So I am thinking of diving into that sort of thing. I do like all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
Just find out where everyone was and what they were doing and what was going on at the time and how they remember it. So I might do that in the future anyway. Right, I'm going to wrap this up because we've been going at it for quite some time now.
It's been a while.
Yeah. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Pete.
No worries.
Thank you for having us.
Sean, would you like to plug the shit out of your podcast, please?
I would love to. I don't know when it's coming back, but I will happily plug the shit out of it. I am one half of the Question Podcast, which is a podcast that, when it's on, seeks to answer all kinds of questions, mundane and serious, political, comedic, whatever we come up with. And you can listen to us. We are on the Rogue 2 Network. We are on iTunes. We are on Stitcher, and it is the Question Podcast. Myself and my wife, Melissa.
Excellent, and it's bloody good. And come back soon.
We will. We really hope to. We've had so much just personal stuff happening. Yeah. Nothing bad. Just whenever you say that word personal, people always go, "Oh, really? Troubles?" Oh, everything's good. Just a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
happening.
Life.
There you go. Yeah. Summed up in one word.
Okay.
Tell her to put the coffee and the hot chocolate to one side for 5 minutes.
I thought something else was going to be said.
Pete, would you like to plug the Generation Y podcast by any chance?
No, because half the time it's shite.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Generation Y, am I listening to this shit?
One of them has branched out on his own, and it's awful. It's really bad.
Right, if the guys from the Generation Y podcast are listening to this is the opinions of the other two guys. I have not listened, and so please do not think that the Shonky Lab is against you guys. There we go.
If you criticize them on Reddit, they do come after you. So just so you know, they might have a response.
Oh dear.
Cool. Is there anything else you'd like to plug, sir?
As usual, my internet presence isn't that great, but I am going to plug the artwork of Danny Davies yet again because he's fucking brilliant.
Good man. I cannot blame you for that.
Highly endorse.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you very much to Sean. Thank you very much to Pete for joining us. Thank you to everyone in the chat room that kept it knocking around. I think we had Jack Woodgate, we had Doreen in there, we had Matt Jones in there. I'm sure we had someone else in there as well at some point, but I do apologise if you're in there and I've missed you in there. But please do pop along to Mixlr.com, which is mixlr.com/Rogue2 Media, and you can listen to the Shonky Lab live whenever I do get around to doing it. I am in the process of trying to kick myself up the arse and do this on maybe a weekly basis, maybe on a fortnightly basis. I need to do more of these, and I thoroughly enjoy doing these. It's just, once again, life has been in the way a little bit, so fingers crossed we'll be on a good run up until Christmas at least. So I think it is that time now that I turn around and say thank you very much to everyone listening, thank you everyone to downloading, and please leave quietly. This is a residential area.
It was something that everybody was talking about, and we got in kind of near the beginning. I mean, some people had seen it already, but there were enough people that we knew that hadn't seen it that we were part of that crowd of people going, "You got to see this thing! Oh my God, wait till you see this because you got to see it, and then we have to talk about it." Because it was very persuasive, and it was very it was fascinating, and it was also. It was something that got you riled up, and I just remember cursing a lot over that period of time and swearing that I would never go to Wisconsin. Or if I did, I would definitely speed through Manitowoc County and get the hell out of there. But yeah, that was pretty much our experience with it. And by the way, I want to say Melissa wanted to be here. Unfortunately, she's a little under the weather. But she really, like, even more than me, was super, like, into this show and into looking, like, I was into the show and I was into everything around it, but, like, she remained, like, on top of this, like, for months after, reading every article that came out, getting into a lot of fights. She may have even been the one that gave the death threat to Pete. I don't know.
Possibly, yeah.
It's very possible. But yeah. She would have definitely been first chair if she was sitting here with me. So I hope I can do her words justice in my commentary.
Yeah.
But yeah, it consumed us when it came out. It really did, and for a good time after.
Wow, that's amazing. What about you, Pete? When did you hear about this and start binge watching it?
I think we came into it. We weren't late, but we weren't in on the ground floor. We'd heard about it, and several people had said, "Oh, you've got to watch this. It's really, really good. It's really, really good." And I think, okay, fine, fair enough. We'll give it a go. And I went into it completely cold, completely blind, even to the point where I thought, is this going to be like Walking Dead? Is it going to be like Game of Thrones? Is it going to be like a series? Is it going to be, is it going to be a season 2? All this sort of, and we just went into it, and it kicked off, and we're watching it thinking, okay, fine, fair enough. And then from pretty much all the way through, every single episode, we were, as I say, we were watching 1 or 2 a night. We did it in a week to 10 days. Every single night, we were just like, oh my God, this is incredible. Jaw-dropping TV, as I say, it really does grip you. And you just come out of it thinking, as you say, I'm never going to go to Wisconsin, which is a shame because I'm a Packers fan. But never going to go there. It's awful. It's awful. What they did, what happened to this guy is incredible, and all this sort of stuff. And then after it, I felt, I'll read around the subject, and at that point, that's when I started feeling really stupid, for reasons that will become clear later on.
Okay, fair enough. Well, for myself, I'd heard about it, but I don't have Netflix. And
Lee does.
Yeah.
Allegedly. He allegedly has it.
Oh, no.
No, he's definitely got it.
He definitely has
it.
I'd heard about it, but it wasn't... I'd heard all these other people talking about it as well, and all of a sudden there was a lot of podcasts about it, and I thought it was something like Serial, the podcast Serial, where everyone started talking about it and diving into it, and it hits a certain size, and then I naturally just back away from it. And I've done it to quite a few shows, and this came out, and I just naturally backed away from it because everyone was talking about it, going, "Oh my God, it's so amazing, so brilliant." And so I stayed clear of it. Didn't really dive into what it was all about. Didn't know it was a true story. Didn't know if it was a fiction or anything like that. And then one day, I think it was my daughter's birthday. Was it my daughter's birthday or my son's birthday? One of the kids' birthdays, and my sister-in-law came up, and she sat down and she was like, "Have you heard of Steven Avery in this Making a Murderer?" And okay, no, I've heard of it, but I haven't watched any of it. And then she proceeded to let me know what it was about, and not without divulging all the twists and turns and everything like that. But it was an interesting conversation, enough for me to seek out the first episode just to find out what's going on. And it was a case of, okay, I've got an hour, I'm going to try and find it. And I found the first episode on Netflix, not on Netflix, on YouTube. And it's free on YouTube at the moment. Netflix are giving it away free on YouTube. So that's all kosher. And so I sat down there and watched that. And by the end of the episode, I was thinking, oh, this is good. I kind of like this. Thinking that this guy who's been put into prison for 18 years, the next 9 episodes are going to be about him winning his case and getting his name cleared and going on his journey on how his family are building up around this. And sat down, well, the last 2 minutes were, yeah, we found a dead body. And I'm like, oh, what? And that was it. I was hooked. And so then Mr. Metcalf did lend me the account to watch a movie on Netflix a little while ago for the Black Dog. It was, you know, for research, of course. And I couldn't help myself. I was like, sod it. Let's go for it. and started watching it. And yeah, I think by the next time I'd recorded Black Dog, I'd already watched 5 episodes. And it's mentioned in one of the episodes. Oh, yeah. I know you've been watching that. Oh, yes, I know you have. Because I can see what you're watching. Show, which was released in 2015, the back end of 2015. And it's caused some controversy. So if you haven't seen it, I would advise you, please go back, find it, hunt it down. I'm sure you can get it through illegal means as well, but
or other people's Netflix accounts.
Other people's Netflix accounts, yes. By the way, this episode is sponsored by Lee Metcalf's Netflix account, so thank you very much to Lee for that. Yeah, there is only 10 episodes. It will take you maybe 1 episode a night. I think I was doing 1 to 2 episodes a night when I was watching it, but that was over a course, maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks. I did it. I didn't do it every single night. I needed a little bit of time to digest what I was actually watching. But yeah, there will be spoilers for this, so please go back and watch this. We'll probably be swearing about this as well, so if you're offended by that sort of stuff, we're going to be diving into certain things that maybe people might not like to hear about gruesome tales, murders and stuff. It's called Making a Murderer. So if you haven't seen it, please go back and check it out. If you don't like that sort of subject, then please see you next time. We'll see you on the next episode. If you do skip over and see us on the next episode, please be sure to visit us at we record this live, which is on Mixler, which is mixler.com/road2media. So you can always jump in the chat room. We've got a couple of people in the chat room at the moment, which is awesome. But yes, please join us in the chat room for the next episode. I don't know what it will be or anything like that, but normally if you come along onto the Facebook group, you can find out what we're talking about on there. Right, so with all that done, shall we dive into this? I want to find out, Sean, how did you find out about this? Was it from the very beginning that you found out and just watched it on the Netflix straight away?
It was. It came out here in the States around Christmas time last year, and it's what everybody was talking about over Christmas break. And Melissa and I didn't get into it at first. We kind of, we'd both heard about it, but we're like, really no interest. It just, it was one of those things that was there. We knew about it, but we really didn't take any time to watch it. And timing is really awful for us in this part, because I was at the very end of my Christmas break. And one night, it was literally a day or two before I was going back to work. It was late at night. We're like, you know what? We're bored. We didn't know what to watch. We popped it in. I said, let me just start this up. I've heard some things about this. People are saying that, this is going to get you really riled up, and that it's, people are really passionate about this. So I said, all right, let's try it. Popped it in. and we probably watched like 5 episodes right that night.
Wow.
And then the next night we started watching more, and she had to go to work the next morning. I had to go to work the next morning. We were like, screw it. So we binge watched it over 2 days at the beginning of January, and it was a phenomenon, as you said earlier at the top of the hour.
We had 6 months to kind of digest it and read around the subject and read around the case. It kind of throws a whole different spin on it, and it's quite interesting. Mm-hmm. But certainly in the water cooler moments, in the immediate aftermath of it, it's quite heated in certain discussion rooms and even on Facebook and stuff. It was quite interesting to watch.
Yeah, I feel I've missed out on all of that fun with the Facebook and what is going on there.
Fun, playing fast and loose with the word fun.
Yeah, because sometimes it can get overindulgent from some people, and some people take it to heart. I can take a joke. I can really wind people up if I really fancy it as well. And I'm kind of glad.
Hands up if you received a death threat over Facebook.
Oh, God, no.
Yep, I did.
What?
No.
About this?
About this, yeah. Some people are very passionate.
I just thought you meant in general. I was like, yeah, of course. I never received. You received a death threat over this?
Yeah, somebody. It's basically, I posted a opinion that was contrary to the herd, as it were. On it was an advert for the actual series on Facebook, and I posted basically a contrary opinion, and fuck me, it was quite scary. Somebody actually Facebook messaged me, and I thought, oh right, okay. I wasn't too bothered. They were in Kansas, and I'm fucking Cambridge, so
yeah, not exactly going to come knocking on your door, are they?
No, I wasn't too worried by it. But I thought, bloody hell.
So I'm going to go on a limb and say that since you posted something counter to the popular opinion at the time.
Yes.
And okay, and the popular opinion, I think we can all agree, the popular opinion is that Steven Avery's innocent, and that spoilers, by the way, for anybody who's listening to this, doesn't expect us to discuss in detail. I'm sure that the popular opinion being that he's innocent. You posted, I'm assuming, something that was contrary to that, and somebody's response was basically, this man was unjustly put up for murder, so I shall kill you.
Basically, yeah. I mean, it was a woman had posted. I feel so sorry for Steven Avery. He looks so lost and cute. I just want to give him a hug. And I posted underneath her comment, don't do that. He'll try and stick his dick in you and then set fire to you. And that was it.
God.
Floodgates open.
Oh,
you do have a way with words.
Oh, I do. But it was bizarre. Complete randoms. Nothing to do with her and nothing to do with me going for me. I was just like, whoa, fucking hell.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Right. Well, what we'll do, I know Sean has just given out the spoiler warning, but for people who are downloading this but don't really know what Making a Murder is, it is a Netflix everyone, welcome back to the Shonky Lab. Sorry it's been so long, but them's the breaks, I'm afraid. I'm Elton, and today I'm joined by guest producers, Mr. Pete Hammond.
Hello.
And Sean McGowan.
Hi, everybody.
You guys alright?
Oh yeah, not so bad, man. You?
Yeah, good. I'm looking forward to talking about this.
Just getting past the long day.
Sorry?
Hold on, I'm getting choppy here all of a sudden.
Oh, bloody hell.
Oh no, Shonky Lab is living up to its name.
Well, we'll carry on while you try and sort that out.
Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. No worries. We didn't realise you was on a fishing boat, but that's cool. That's cool. That's good. So, yeah, we're here to talk about making a murderer. I understand it's quite the thing to talk about. Maybe 6 months, a year ago.
Yeah, and I'm going to apologize in advance. I mean, I'm very passionate about this documentary and this case, but I will say that, yeah, I am about 6 months sounds about right. I'm about 6 months removed from the height of my passion.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have moments where I need to kind of go before I recall something, I apologize in advance, because it's definitely a fascinating and again passionate subject, but one that I haven't really discussed in quite some time.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I think I haven't. Well, I've watched it in one big foul swoop, and so you can lose quite a lot of context in that. I think when you're totally washed over with an article and you dive yourself head on, sometimes you can't see the wood for the trees with these sort of things.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys about this, because I have spoken to maybe one or two people about it, and that's about it, really. I wasn't in the water cooler stage of people watching it and then going to work and then having a week to digest what you've just seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I binge watched it in about 10 days, because it's 10 episodes long. And again, about 6 months ago, just binge watched the whole thing on Netflix in a week to 10 days.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, went at it fairly full bore, because right from the off, it kind of grips you. And I have to admit, I was completely took in by it. But as I say, having